It's mass money. Wrong. Yeah. The pavement talks to me, I hear the voices in the cracks. The concrete holds the memories, it shows me all the hidden facts. I walk the block alone, the streetlights hum a heavy tune. I hear the whispers in the wind, underneath the bleeding moon. The asphalt tells a story, every pothole is a scar. I listen to the echoes bouncing off the parked car. The corner store is speaking, the yellow tape is screaming loud. I see the ghosts at midnight floating through the heavy cloud. The bricks are holding secrets, the alleyways are breathing deep. The neighborhood is haunted, the city simply cannot sleep. I step across the chalk lines, the gravel crunches under boots. The pavement knows the history, it knows the absolute roots. The stoop is giving lectures, the rusted gates are dropping gems. I see the fallen soldiers, I clearly remember all of them. The cracks are getting wider, the foundation is breaking down. The streets are having dialogues in the middle of a dark town. I hear the sirens crying, the glass is shattered on the floor. The hinge is always squeaking on the abandoned project door. The concrete never lies, it absorbs the daily blood. The memories are washing up just like a heavy winter flood. The sneakers on the wire, they dangling like a chandelier. The wind is blowing through them, whispering the local fear. I look down at the sidewalk, the bloodstains never wash away. The streets are having conversations with nothing positive to say. With nothing positive to say. I talk back to the pavement, I tell the streets I finally won. I survived the conversations, I outlasted the smoking gun. The gutters holding water, reflecting all the shiny ice. The concrete knows my struggle, it knows I paid the heavy price. The walls are painted over, but the graffiti still remains. The block is a museum, showcasing all the hidden pains. I listen to the quiet, the silence is a heavy speech. The lessons are embedded far beyond the normal reach. The street signs are the chapters, the intersections are the page. I read the dark environment, living in a broken cage. The concrete has a voice, it murmurs in the freezing cold. The conversations are eternal, the story is completely told. I walk the block in silence, the pavement recognizes me. The ultimate survivor living out the destiny.
Look up, past the bricks. Look, I look at the buildings, they touching the sky. I look at the pavement where young brothers die. My dreams are much bigger than the concrete block. I hear the loud ticking of the heavy clock. They told me the limit with the project roof. I looked at the history, I looked at the proof. I knew I was destined for a heavier crown. I knew I was leaving this dangerous town. The ambition is burning the fire inside. I swallow the terror, I swallow the pride. I step out the building, I look at the moon. I know that the morning is coming real soon. The skyline is calling my heavy last name. I operate outside the rules of the game. The projects are shrinking, the higher I rise. I look at the summit with hungry dark eyes. Yeah. You gotta see past the streetlights to see the stars. Look, the elevator broken, I take all the stairs. I carry the burden of a million prayers. The hallway is screaming with the heavy past. I know that the poverty never will last. I see the big vision beyond all the dust. I build up the empire constructed on trust. The ceiling is cracking, I'm breaking right through. I know exactly what I have to do. My mind is a fortress, my spirit is still. The hunger inside me is terribly real. I look at the penthouse way up in the cloud. I'm making the ancestors incredibly proud. The neighborhood trying to pull down my feet. I leave all the anchors out on the dark street. My dreams are much heavier than all of the lead. I carry the vision inside of my head. I'm towering over the darkest of pie. Yeah. Yeah. The instinct is an artifact, I keep it on my hip. I trust a heavy intuition when the relations slip. I seen the fake connections turn into a massive trap. I watch the brothers fold under the pressure rap. The loyalty is costly, it breaks the heavy scale. A currency, a tragedy designed to make you fail. I don't depend on handshakes or words inside the night. I wait for heavy actions to prove the picture right. The paranoia saves me from a wooden heavy box. I navigate the trenches like a clever running fox. Trust is just a luxury I cannot easily afford. It hangs above my cranium exactly like a sword. I keep my circle tiny, just me and hollow shells. Cause trusting any stranger leads directly to the cells. The closest ones will switch when the paper hits the floor. They kick down every promise just to open up the door. I analyze the movement of every single quiet eye. I see the hidden motive behind the heavy open lie. I keep my back against the wall and face the open room, because an unexpected dagger puts a master in a tomb. The street is unforgiving, it eats the fully blind. It takes your trust and slowly rips apart your heavy mind. The conversations happen but the meaning is reversed. The sweetest sounding compliment is usually the worst. I learned a bitter lesson in the middle of the dark. You trust the wrong survivor and you catch a fatal spark. My gut is like a prophet, a messenger of facts. It shows me the reality before the devil acts. You give your trust to humans, you guarantee a loss. It leaves you hanging quietly upon the heavy cross. The isolation hurts me, but it keeps my breathing real. The only thing I truly trust is cold and heavy steel. I check the locks 10 times and then I check the glass. I watch the heavy predator step softly through the grass. The money gets much thicker, the trust goes incredibly thin. You find out that betrayal is the absolute original sin. The circle is a dot now, a single lonely point. I smoke out the anxiety inside a quiet joint. I sit inside the Maybach with the tent completely dark. A legendary product of the neighborhood park. I learned the game so early, it froze my weary soul. The lack of heavy trusting is how I keep control. So keep your empty promises and keep your fake advice. I know that every favor has a very heavy price. I operate in silence, a phantom in the cold. Cause giving up the trust is giving up the goal. The heavy crown is sitting on a very restless head. I trust the neighborhood pavement and I trust the silent dead. The lesson was completely carried in a heavy hearse. The consequence of trusting could not ever get much worse. I made it to the summit, but I'm watching everything. I listen to the hollow, heavy song the sirens sing. The intuition guides me through the artificial maze. I trust my heavy instincts for the rest of all my days.
Yeah. Machine, look. A lot of people talk, the streets talk, but the pavement never lies. Talk to 'em. Yeah. Raised by the rumors, but the reality was much colder. Looking over my right shoulder, my heart just growing old. I heard they put a bounty on me, heard the price was getting heavy. But when I pulled up to the spot, ain't nobody holding steady. The barbershop gossip, the fables in the bodega. Niggas playing Sega while I was out dodging the Omega. They said the block was hot, but the shooters was really freezing. Talking about what they gon' do without a valid reason. I had to separate the fiction from the flashing muzzle flashes. Watching the fake gangsters turn to immediately to ashes. The word on the street is a telephone game for the weak. I only believe the silence when the real killers speak. You buying into the myth, you purchasing a total lie. I looked the devil in his face, I looked him right in the eye. Saw the difference between a boss and an internet persona. I'm standing on the front line, smelling like the marijuana. They told me it was loyalty, reality it was a trap. That's why I'm constantly walking around with the heavy strap. Machine. Yeah, you can't believe everything you hear. You gotta see it. You gotta live it. Look. They said he was a heavyweight, reality he was a rat. I seen the federal paperwork, I know exactly where he sat. The rumors paint a picture, but reality holds the brush. When the sirens start wailing, the whole neighborhood in a rush. I got the Audemars ticking, the diamonds is fully flawless. We operating in a zone that is absolutely lawless. Don't tell me what you heard, show me exactly what you did, because I know the actual truth about the weapons that was here. The streets is full of parrots, just repeating what they told, but reality is a dish that is permanently served cold. I navigated through the hearsay, the jealousy and the spite, reading between the lines in the middle of the darkest night. They said the plug was completely dry, but my table full of bricks. You listening to the rumors, you falling for the petty tricks. They said I wouldn't make it, the rumor was I would fold. Now I'm sitting in the Maybach counting up the solid gold. I learned the difference early between the action and the speech. I'm sitting on a throne completely out of everybody's reach. Yeah. Reality check. Machine. The neighborhood is entirely too quiet. The street lights are buzzing alone. The stray dogs are completely silent. The tension is chilling the bone. You can hear a pin drop on the concrete. The wind is not moving the leaves. The shadows are stretching out longer. The darkness is hiding the thieves. The bodega neon is violently flickering. The junkies have vanished away. The corner's completely abandoned at the end of a dangerous day. The silence is incredibly deafening. It rings in the back of my ear. The absence of the normal chaos is a warning that danger is near. I look out the window in absolute silence. I see the abandoned cars parked. The pavement is waiting for bloodshed. The territory is permanently marked. The calm is a heavy deception, a blanket over the violent truth. The quiet before the sudden storm that steals the neighborhood youth. I sit in the dark without moving. I listen to the refrigerator hum. I know what the silence is bringing. I know exactly what is to come. The peace is an artificial illusion constructed to lower the guard. The devil is walking the pavement. He is playing the absolute hardest card. The veterans know what the quiet means. They lock up the heavy steel doors. They pull down the metal window shades to prepare for the neighborhood wars. The young kids do not understand it. They think that the danger is past, but the veterans know that the silence is something that never will last. The air is incredibly thick right now. You can cut the tension with a knife. Somebody is planning a tragedy. Somebody's taking a life. The pavement is holding its breath. The brick walls are waiting to break. The silence is a venomous serpent that floats on a venomous lake. I check the locks on the front door. I make sure the metal is loaded. The silence is a ticking time bomb that simply has not yet exploded. I look at the clock on the wall. The seconds are moving too slow. The anticipation is absolute torture with absolutely nowhere to go. The lack of the police cruisers, the lack of the screeching tires is a signal that the opposition is lighting the dangerous fires. I sit in the corner and meditate. I regulate my heavy breathing. The entire block is an ocean, and the water is quietly seething. You wait for the sound of the metal. You wait for the shattering glass. You wait for the horrible moment when the tragedy comes to pass. The silence is playing mind games. It whispers inside of your brain. It tells you that you are entirely safe before it delivers the pain. The calm is the worst part of it all, because the imagination runs wild. You picture the absolute worst scenario. You picture the weeping child. The quiet is a predatory animal stalking the prey in the grass, waiting for the perfect opportunity to shatter the absolute glass. The moon is hiding behind the clouds. The stars are refusing to shine. The entire universe is telling me to stay completely behind the line. The silence makes every floorboard squeak sound like
like a massive explosion. The mental fortitude is undergoing a massive and heavy erosion. I take a sip of the expensive liquor, it burns all the way down my throat. I'm stranded on a desert island without a single survival boat. The quiet is louder than gunshots, it echoes inside of my chest. It refuses to let my exhausted soul have a single moment of rest. Then the atmosphere suddenly changes, the temperature drops a degree. The absolute worst expectations are exactly what you will see. The first crack breaks the illusion, the sound of the heavy machine tearing apart the fake tranquility and destroying the peaceful scene. The second crack echoes completely, bouncing off the brick apartment, sending a wave of absolute terror through every single department. The silence is violently murdered, the chaos reclaims the throne. The devil is collecting his debts and he is absolutely not alone. Now the screams replace the quiet, the running footsteps hit the street. The illusion of safety is shattered by the sound of the frantic feet. The block is entirely awake now, the adrenaline floods the vein. The quiet before the sirens was just a prelude to the pain. I stay away from the window glass, I keep my back firmly to the wall. I listen to the terrible aftermath of the absolute tragic fall. The peace was a beautiful lie, the violence is the terrible truth. The sirens are starting to wail, coming to collect the youth. The flashing lights paint the room red, the blue lights reflect on the glass. Another statistic is finalized, another life fades in the grass. The paramedics are rushing in, the yellow tape blocks off the zone. The neighborhood is bleeding out and shivering straight to the bone. The sirens are incredibly deafening, they drown out the cries and the tears. They validate all of the paranoia and all of the heavy fears. The quiet was just an intermission between the acts of the play. The sirens are the grand finale at the end of the violent day. I sit in the dark and I listen to the wailing slowly fade out. The ambulance takes them away, leaving a shadow of doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, I never had a childhood. I learned to stay alive, a heavy burden early, before the age of 5. I traded action figures for the neighborhood war. I saw the local legends get raided at the door. The innocence was snatched before I had a chance. I walked the freezing pavement, I learned the devil dance. We didn't play outside, we hid from flashing lights. I saw the undercover on the darkest nights. My playground was the concrete covered in the glass, a miniature soldier in a master class. Youth is just a blessing, but mine was a curse. I saw the trauma building, going to the worst. The kids watched the cartoons, I watched the local fiends. I learned the mathematics behind the broken scenes. You cannot be a child when predators are near. I built a mental fortress to hide the heavy fear. The bedtime stories echo like gunshots in the dark. I slept with one eye open, waiting for the spark. No fairy left a dollar inside the project room, just a suffocating, approaching heavy doom. I skipped the teenage years, I stepped into the stress, trying to clean the block and navigate the mess. I bought the Rolex watch, the maker for the time, but jewelry cannot fix the memory of the crime. I look at my reflection, I see exhausted eyes, a veteran survivor who saw the heavy lies. The luxury in cars are just a quick distraction from psychological and violent interaction. I never rode a bike without looking behind. The heavy paranoia is stuck inside my mind. I passed the street curriculum but missed the actual youth. I sacrificed the pureness to face the heavy truth. I poured the liquor out for who I couldn't be, swallowed by the shadows of concrete destiny. I operate completely on a different wave. I bypass the playground to avoid the grave.
Yeah. Look. Yeah. Look, I
look at the crossroads, standing still, feeling the pressure on the brain. One wrong step on the pavement could leave me permanently in the rain. I see the divergent past the shadows, hiding the absolute consequence. We operating in a zone where you simply cannot sit upon the fence. The weight of every choice is a boulder, resting heavy on the spine. I gotta analyze the fine print, reading between every single line. You take a left, you might run into the task force, sweeping the block. You take a right, you might catch a hollow point from the hidden Glock. It ain't no casual decisions when the environment is this severe. Every single word you speak can easily cost you an entire year. I stood at the bodega door debating if I should go inside and buy a simple choice that could determine if I was about to live or die. Because 2 minutes later the shooter spun the block and let it ring. I made the choice to walk away and avoided the absolute fatal sting. But the mental toll is exhausting, the calculation is a heavy task. You wearing a permanent frown hidden behind a very stoic mask. I look at the youngest flipping a coin to decide their entire fate, not realizing the gravity until the hour is entirely too late. The money gets longer, but the decisions actually get much harder. I went from protecting the corner to heavily guarding the larder. I sit in the boardroom looking at the contract spread upon the wood. No one bad signature could permanently damage the livelihood. The paranoia is justified when the stakes is sitting at $1 million cash. One reckless investment could turn the empire to absolute ash. I weigh the options like I used to weigh the product on a digital scale, knowing the margin of error is the difference between the yacht and jail. They think the luxury eliminates the stress of the constant choosing, but the higher altitude means a much heavier impact when you losing. I gotta decide who to trust, who to cut off, and who to keep around, because a snake in the grass won't ever make a single warning sound. I chose to stay silent when the opposition was begging for the war. I chose to build a fortress instead of kicking down the enemy door. Every single chess move is meticulously analyzed in a dark room. I'm dodging the checkmate and sweeping the board with the heavy broom. The anxiety at a crossroad never leaves the back of the mind. You just get better at leaving the absolute worst scenarios behind. Yeah. I look at the cemetery plot full of brothers who made the wrong turn. A permanent visual reminder of the heavy lessons I had to learn. They chose to ride out, they chose the temporary glory of the street. Now they resting permanently 6 feet deep underneath the concrete. I carry the survivor guilt because my choices kept my breathing steady. While they was moving reckless, I was always heavily armed and ready. But the burden of the intellect is the constant second guessing, wondering if the curse is secretly disguised as the ultimate blessing. I chose the marathon, I chose to play the absolute longest game, while the peers was chasing a fleeting illusion of the neighborhood fame. The weight of every choice is the gravity pulling down on the soul. It takes a massive amount of the willpower just to maintain control. I look at the reflection, the eyes is carrying the history of the stress. A beautiful disaster navigating through a highly complicated mess. I make the call to dominoes fall, the entire landscape begins to shift. The ability to foresee the outcome is a very dark and twisted gift. So I tread lightly, stepping over the landmines with the careful grace, knowing every choice I make is dictating my position in the race. They say the winter is beautiful. Nah. Not where we from, the cold just makes them crazy. Talk to them. Yeah. Yeah. The temperature hitting 0, the north face ain't enough. The youngins out on the corner, they trying to act tough. The frostbite on the knuckles from gripping the heavy steel. You slip up on the black ice, you find out how the graveyard feel. The wind chill is negative, but the block is catching fire. The desperation is rising, the stakes is getting higher. You see the breath in the air right before the hammer click. The paramedics is sliding, the pavement is getting slick. I'm in the Maybach heated, the seats is massaging my back. But I remember the nights we was shivering in the trap. The radiators was broken, we using the stove for heat. Now the bottom of the lubricants is touching the frozen street. The cold nights make the tempers flare, niggas is highly stressed. A minor disrespect put a hollow point in your chest. We wearing the balaclavas for the weather in the disguise. I look into a killer's face, I only see the frozen eyes. Yeah, you can see your breath out here, but you can't see the intentions. Look. The snowbank's getting red, the sirens is getting loud. The wintertime in the trenches are thin out a heavy crowd. You think it's a winter wonderland, really it's an abyss. A single misunderstood word is leading to the fatal kiss. The trigger finger is numb, but the aim is perfect. Lip
precise. We gambling with our lives, we rolling the frozen dice. The thermometer dropping down the mercury in the glass. We out here surviving, ain't nobody giving the pass. I zip up the heavy Montclair, the fur is covering the hood. I made it out of the freezer, the finances looking good, but the PTSD is kicking. I still feel the winter draft. I look at the opposition, I only can sit and laugh, cause the hot tempers and the cold is a recipe for the grave. Ain't nobody coming to rescue, ain't nobody to save. The ice on the windshield melting from the heat of the yellow tape. Another frozen body chalked up, another impossible escape. Yeah. Stay warm. Stay warm. Stay warm. Stay warm. Machine!
Machine. Yeah. Heavy heart. Light steps. Look, the pain is sitting heavy right beneath my ribs. I carry all the trauma from the project cribs. My heart is like an anvil weighing down my soul. The pavement takes a massive, unforgiving, heavy toll. But I'm stepping lightly like a phantom in the night. I navigate the shadows, staying out of sight. You move a little clumsy, you become a chalk outline. I walk across the tightrope, drinking up the bitter wine. The grief is suffocating every time I breathe. I wear the heavy sorrow underneath my sleeve. I lost a dozen brothers to the violent street, but I'ma stay completely light upon my feet. I tiptoe through the danger like a dancer in the dark. I leave a heavy memory, but not a physical mark. The shooter's on the corner looking for a clumsy step. I maintain my balance and I keep my heavy rep. The sorrow is an anchor trying hard to pull me down. I wear a face of granite in a very broken town, yeah. The mind is burdened. Steps are calculated. Look, look. I hold a massive funeral inside my heavy head. I constantly remember all the fallen dead. The guilt is like a boulder strapped upon my back. I anticipate the sudden, terrifying, dark attack. I step around the puddles filled with heavy rain. I cannot let them see the psychological pain. My boots are stepping quiet on the broken glass. I watch the undercover slowly driving past. The heart is crying out, but the face is made of stone. I walk the absolute dangerous zone alone. A heavy chest, but a quiet shoe. You gotta understand exactly what I do. I float above the concrete like a heavy ghost, surviving the environment that hurts the absolute most. The tears are freezing solid right upon my cheek. The predators are hunting for the absolutely weak. I carry all the caskets in my mental space, but I maintain a steady and a highly careful pace. It takes balance. You let the weight drag you down. You are finished. Stay light. Look, the emotional baggage fills a heavy vault. I cannot ever bring the mission to a halt. The tears are frozen solid deep inside my eyes. I listen to the heavy and the violent cries. My feet are doing ballet on a razor blade. I walk into the trap that the devil laid. I slide right past the shooters, standing in the hall. I cannot make a single mistake and quickly fall. The burden of the survivor is a massive crushing weight. I navigate the absolute, unforgiving, heavy hate. Hard, heavy like a mountain, feet light like a feather. I walk through the absolute, most destructive weather. I carry all the ghosts inside my heavy chest, but I will never let them interrupt my heavy quest. The sirens in the distance sing a heavy song. I know exactly where my heavy steps belong. I walk across the wire high above the street. My heart is beating heavy, but I have the lightest feet. Machine. You gotta flow through the madness. Look. 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 The
Paranoia whispers in my left ear. I push aside the heavy and the crippling fear. I step over the needles and the project stare. The tension is incredibly thick inside the air. I carry the depression like a loaded gun. I walk inside the shadows, hiding from the sun. The weight is pushing down upon my heavy spine. I look at the horizon, searching for a sign. The demons try to grab me by my heavy coat. I keep my head entirely above the burning moat. My footsteps do not echo on the wooden floor. I slide right out the back of the corner store. The heart is absolutely bleeding out in pain, but I refuse to leave a single bloody stain. I tiptoe through the madness with a broken soul. The streets are trying hard to swallow up me whole, but I remain elusive like a winter breeze. I navigate the absolute deadly dark disease, yeah. Step light, step light, step light. Keep the heart heavy. Keep the feet light. Yeah, 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 yeah. Keep the heart heavy, keep the heart heavy, keep the heart heavy, keep the feet light, yeah.
Look, machine. Talk to him. They said the city never sleeps, but my block don't even blink. Look, the block don't sleep, it just rests its eyes with the hammer out. Fiends doing the thriller dance, trying to figure the grammar out. Street lights flickering, casting shadows on the yellow tape. Another mother crying, another soul that didn't make the great escape. I'm in the kitchen, water bubbling, watching the Pyrex smoke. You ain't from where we from, you think the poverty is just a joke. Midnight shift, but ain't nobody punching corporate clocks here. Just the sound of the sirens and the hollow shells that drop here. Vampires walking the pavement, looking for a quick fix. Politicians ignoring the slums, playing they sick tricks. I bought the Balenciaga runners just to step over the puddles. We survived the concrete jungle, the shootouts and the scuffles. Paranoia sitting heavy, weighing down my right shoulder. Every winter that we survive, my heart just gets a little colder. The bodega neon buzzing, illuminating the corner transactions. I'm just a product of my environment, observing the chain reactions. We don't need alarm clocks, the gunshots wake us up early. The diamonds in the presidential Rolex looking extremely pearly, but it don't hide the scars, it don't erase the memory of the trauma. The block is a theater and we just acting out the daily drama. Machine, machine. Yeah, you gotta see it to believe it. It's ugly out here, but it's beautiful at the same time. Look, I'm looking out the project window, watching the ghosts congregate, debating if it's the environment or if it's just a twisted fate. They selling poison on the same steps where the little kids is playing. You wonder why I keep the iron on me. Listen to what I'm saying. The ambulance takes too long. The police only come to bag us. The media paints us as the villains. They just wanna constantly tag us. But I'm a survivor, reading the scripture out the book of Job, wrapped in a heavy mink, looking like I'm in the royal robe. The insomnia is contagious. The whole zip code got the fever. Trust nobody in the trenches. Everybody is a known deceiver. You hear the tires screeching, you smell the burning rubber in the air. You look into the eyes of the youth, you only see a blank stare. They growing up too fast, recognizing the danger before the alphabet. I placed a wager on my own life and I collected on the heavy bet. The block never sleeps, it's a living, breathing, hungry animal, chewing up the innocent. The behavior is completely cannibal. I made it out the mud, but the dirt is permanently under my nails. Listening to the wind howling, sounding exactly like the prison wails. So I just count the paper, keeping my circle tighter than a vice. Because out here in the dark, everything comes with a heavy price. Yeah, that's just how it is. Block, stay awake. Machine.